my name is Elaine and we're here to introduce Arch, an intervention which is unique to Oxfordshire, and it's all about sharing the joy of reading with children who are not yet inspired. We have got 260 volunteers throughout the county, working in about 100 primary schools, helping about 700 children each year.
Hello, I'm Jane. Firstly, I'd like you to think about the value of reading, and I'd like to ask who can actually remember learning to read. If you could just raise your hand if you can remember learning to read. Not many. That's good, because for most people, learning to read is just a magical process. It happens quite naturally. And those people who have the strongest memories perhaps struggled with reading. So they're perhaps negative memories, feeling a bit silly, not feeling as good as everyone in the class, lacking confidence. Now, hopefully we're all good readers now. Please raise your hand again if you think you're a good reader. I think that's everyone. As we all know, reading is the key to life. If you can read, you can learn how to do anything else. It's the fundamental life skill. So, if you're all good readers, could you read this aloud for us, please? All together now.
Oh, very good.
Too clever. Yes, children love Arch volunteers. I think I did hear a few stumbles with that. Obviously, you were very clever and you realised the text was written backwards. But a little bit of a stumble and a struggle. But that's what it feels like all the time for children who are struggling with their reading.
And that's where Arch comes in. So what do we do? Well, it's very simple, really. We support volunteers who work one-to-one with primary school children, sharing books and games and developing a joy of reading. So why is there such a need? Isn't it the school's job to teach children to read? Well, yes, but there is far more to it. Some children will just not see themselves as readers or learners. Arch volunteers have a real passion for learning and for reading, and they want to help inspire children to help them see the importance of reading for purpose, but also for pleasure. And our volunteers do their job brilliantly. How do we know? Well, we ask schools, and schools tell us that they've seen improvements in reading, learning, communication skills, and also confidence in the children.
And there's great need. Oxfordshire is a primarily affluent county, I think we know, but there is another side of high-level deprivation in some areas. Children are living in poverty. There are generations who've sometimes grown up on the same housing estate, and a general lack of aspirations within families. A recent study you may have seen in the Oxford Mail showed that 40% of children living in deprived circumstances in Oxford City fail to reach the government's expected level of reading when they leave primary school. 40%. So what do you think is going to happen to those children when they move on to secondary? They won't be able to follow lessons. They may disrupt lessons, they may become disruptive in school, they'll become disengaged from learning. They can write off their own lives quite easily.
So I'd like you to cast your mind back to the first day of secondary school. How did you feel? So much to get used to learn, new classes, new friends, new and sometimes scary teachers. Every child will have to deal with so many changes and challenges at secondary, but a child who's struggled in primary school will often flounder when they get to secondary. And thinking about this transition from primary to secondary and hearing from schools, knowing that there was a real need, made us design this project. Life can be really tough for children. Listen to this from a volunteer of ours.
The teachers suggested Jacob, aged 10, should have some Arch input because he'd been through a pretty tough time. His mum died when he was 6, and his beloved granddad died just before Christmas, shattering his world again. He sometimes wears his mum's bandana to school, and he brought in some of his granddad's service medals to show me. We were able to do quite a lot of reading about the campaigns he'd been on. A lovely, gentle little boy. He lacks confidence and is always wanting reassurance that he's getting those words right. We have such fun reading football books, and he's educating me about the players and the rules. He was very proud of himself when he finished a whole book. been so much fun that he was really keen to choose another. He tells me that our time together is his favourite time in school. I do worry what's going to happen to him when he transfers to secondary. He will be lost.
Well, we have the solution. We would like you to help us continue to support children just like Jacob when they go on to secondary school, to be a familiar face, a special friend in a school for children who are struggling with life, and to sustain the good effect that Archer's input has already had in their primary school. We need you to help us help children overcome negativity, raise confidence, aspirations and life chances, give these children hope and belief that they can achieve whatever they wish in life. With £4,000, we could help 36 children. 3,000, slightly less obviously. Breaking it down, 4,000 would be £116 per child, which is a very small cost to change a child's life. So please do help us to help these children.